Welcome to Trivia Tangents, the podcast where we turn everyday passions into surprising trivia deep dives. I'm your host, Lena, and each week I quiz a friend on something they know way too much about, turning everyday passions into trivia gold. We all know that on trivia night, the bigger the team, the better you'll play. That's why I bring the team together here on Trivia Tangents. So get ready for some fun facts you'll definitely want for your next trivia night. In this episode, I interview Lauren, a marathon open water swimmer. She's best known for her unassisted long-distance swims, and we talk all about her experience. From training, to feedings during a swim, to jellyfish, we uncover a whole new world underwater. And if it's not sinking in how incredibly talented she is, she literally swims nonstop in open bodies of water, sometimes between countries, literally swimming from one country to another. The first section here is about the Dolphin Club, and I feel like I didn't give enough background on what that actually is. So in San Francisco, we actually have a large swimming culture because obviously we have the bay and people swim in it. So there are two prominent bay swim clubs, the Dolphin Club and the South End Rowing Club. They're actually neighbors along the bay, and they obviously share the same body of water for swimming. Lauren is a member of the Dolphin Club, so she has the inside scoop on all the friendly rivalry that goes on between the two. I had a lot of fun quizzing Lauren on the history of the Dolphin Club, other famous unassisted marathon swimmers, and of course, jellyfish. Enjoy the episode. Hi, Lauren. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to talk to you about all things open water swimming.
Yes, I'm so excited. I have somebody to listen to me while I talk about one of my favorite subjects. So this is great.
I'm so excited. And just to give the listeners a little bit of a background, Lauren did do water polo competitively and currently coaches high school water polo in the Bay Area. So you're, of course, obviously a very talented swimmer. To name a few of your swims, we have Ireland to Scotland, so the North Channel, Catalina Island to mainland California, and then England to France, so the English Channel. I just picked three. You've obviously done way more than that.
Yes, those are some big ones. There's some fun ones. I mean, I've also swum across Lake Tahoe. That's another one that listeners might know.
Yeah.
Tahoe is one of those crazy bodies of water that's like, people are like, oh, it's just a lake. It's gorgeous. But it has like wind currents, it can have waves, so it's definitely a menacing body of water. It's also the same distance across as the English Channel, which is also wild to think of. Yeah, they're both 21 miles across at English Channel at its shortest, I guess, and Tahoe at its longest, which is totally blew my mind when I realized that.
So that means England and France, that's the distance, 21 miles. Oh my God, that's crazy. Well, obviously today we are discussing open water swimming, long distance open water swimming, and I'm so excited to learn more from you and also do a little bit of quizzing here and there with some fun trivia questions that I put together. We have three sections today: the Dolphin Club, going the distance, literally, and then things that sting.
I love that title.
I'm excited for that section. Yeah. But we'll have to wait till the very end for that. So are you ready for question 1 in section 1?
Yes, I'm so nervous, but yes.
You have your knowledge, you have your swimming skills, and you have your matcha, so you're ready to go.
Exactly, yes. I was inspired by one of your last episodes, and I have my matcha with me, so. It's far amazing. Too late for matcha, but I was like, oh, I gotta have some.
Section 1, the Dolphin Club. Trivia question 1. In 1937, swimmer Zeta, coached by Charlie Sava, broke barriers by joining which men's-only swim at the Dolphin Club? A, Golden Gate Swim. B, Alcatraz Swim. C, Farallon Island Swim, or D, Golden Gate to Bay Bridge Swim?
Okay, I don't really know the answer to this. However, I do know that at that time, like, Golden Gate swims were really popular. And that was maybe, I don't know about this particular swimmer, but one of the first that like women were allowed to race in, even though they weren't allowed to be members yet. So I'm going to go with the Golden Gate swim.
Yeah, you're correct.
Yes.
I love that. Good job. Yes, you're right.
Perfect.
The Golden Gate swim, basically where people swim across the length of the Golden Gate, like right underneath it. That was
Yes.
super popular during that time, according to the Dolphin Club's history.
I have swam the Golden Gate. It's about a mile across. So, you know, if you're a competitive swimmer, that's not that long. But what's really cool about it is that obviously it's iconic. You know, you're under the gate the whole time. But it's also really swelly because, right, it's kind of like this magical border. Once you cross under the Golden Gate and you're out in the open ocean, like those swells just get way bigger. So it is challenging in that way, in that it's a shorter swim, but it's kind of feels like you're in the open ocean. So it's pretty fun.
Yeah, because you are.
Yes, you basically are. You're at the very edge of the bay. So
yeah. Awesome. Well, before we get into more discussion questions, let me give you some background on Miss Zeta Weed. In 1937, a teenage girl, Zeta Weed, joins the men's-only Dolphin Golden Gate swim and steals all the publicity. Her coach, Charlie Sava, that name might ring a bell.
Yes, it does.
Was a legendary swimming figure known for his technical coaching and inclusivity. This wasn't just a swim. It was a moment of quiet protest and athletic defiance. It would take over 40 years for the club, the Dolphin Club, to even open a women's locker room. But Zeta Weed's swim cracked the surface. Side tangent about Mr. Charlie Sava. That name definitely rings a bell. It is, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful indoor swimming pools in San Francisco. We don't have that many, so, you know.
That's a whole nother episode, I feel like.
Yes, totally. But basically, this pool, Sava Pool on 19th Ave in the Sunset, is obviously named after Charlie Sava. That's all I, dug into it about that pool specifically.
That's so awesome. I did not know that. I did not make that connection. So that's really cool.
Yeah. Who knew? And then also, let's not forget about the Dolphin Club's colorful past.
Mm-hmm. Very colorful.
Very colorful. In 1899, for example, 2 Dolphin Club charter members, the Carlin brothers, opened Hotel Nymphia, which was San Francisco's most notorious brothel. You can see remnants of this body history in the men's locker room with prominently displayed pinup posters. And Hotel Nymphia was a 3-story building with about 150 cubicles on each floor. I like how they wrote cubicles, not even rooms, just cubicles.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I'll link the website in the description below. But basically the intention of the brothers, the Carolyn brothers, was to name the place Hotel Nymphomania and to, quote, stock it with women suffering from the condition, end quote.
Oh my God.
Which is gross. And also nymphomania or nymphomaniacs is not the technical word anymore to describe that condition. And that website says on a quote unquote good night, a prostitute might serve as many as 100 men.
Oh,
so,
gosh.
And then
That's
I read
crazy.
some gross thing about, you could pay a nickel to look through a peephole in a door and watch someone do their business.
So gross.
Yeah, so gross. So that's a little bit of history on the Dolphin Club, and the Dolphin Club isn't necessarily like that now. That's just its history, And Lauren was a member of the Dolphin Club?
Yes, still a member.
Okay, nice. Still a member. So I've seen those pinup photos at the Dolphin Club. I know you've seen them. We can confirm they're real. However, apparently, there are also pinup photos of men in the men's locker room. Am I right?
So I cannot speak to the men's locker room because I have not been in there.
Wait, what? I thought they gave you a tour or something one time, when it was empty. That's what I heard.
No, I've seen photos of things in there.
Okay.
Yes, and I have many male member friends who know the locker room very well and do tell me stories about it. But yeah, it goes back to the history of the Dolphin Club. So obviously those are the brothers. I do want to clarify the Dolphin Club itself was not used as a brothel. No. It was this other hotel. Yes.
Yes.
It was, of course, kind of created as a men's club. And it wasn't until the 70s until women were actually let in, and I'm sure we'll go over all of that and how that happened. But it does kind of still carry that like old boys men's club type of vibe, even though I think most people in the club are actually very welcoming, and there are many women members now, and so it's really changed a lot. But those pinup posters, I think, are just a little bit of a holdover, for lack of a better word, from kind of those origins. There has been lots of discussion amongst members about those posters. There are some who love them and who are like, it's okay, and there are some who are upset about it. Both genders, by the way, or all genders, I should say, on different sides. So, I don't know that I have a full opinion about it. I do think it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But yes, there was a reported googly eyes placed on some interesting body parts on one of the posters, and then there was a whole fight about that and how it was destruction of property.
Oh my God.
Yes, so the posters have created some club drama, but for the most part, I think it's just they're there and you can look at them or not.
And I guess it makes sense in the locker room, like everyone's naked anyway, so.
It's true. And there have been women, because there are not any posters in the women's locker room. So the women are like, well, maybe we should put up male posters. But then there's a bunch of women who are like, we don't want to look at male posters.
Yeah.
It's like, let's not do it just because we can. Like, anyways. Yeah. So it is a little fun fact about the Dolphin Club.
Yeah. A little bit of a quirk.
Yes,
let's say.
A quirk. A remnant of a pastime, I think.
Yes. So you mentioned, the women's locker room. I believe the women's locker room opened in 1978.
I think that's right.
Yeah, and I heard or seen from articles, it is smaller than the men's locker room. And obviously you are a woman. And yes. I know, from the one time I went to go swimming with you guys, there's a huge female presence at the Dolphin Club today, which is amazing. And I think I saw even the SF Gate released an article today about Dolphin Club women members who they were calling it like cold plunging in the bay, but I think they were actually just swimming normally.
Yeah.
So can you tell me more about the female presence at the club and like how it makes you feel as a female swimmer yourself?
Yeah. So I think I don't know the exact numbers of how many women there are. It may not be 50%. I want to say it's probably like 30 or 40%, but you can fact check me on that. And it's a really welcoming group. Yeah. And what's so cool about the Dolphin Club in general is that you have people at all levels just enjoying the ocean. So whether it is like, they're a daily cold plunger, so they go into the water and kind of just tread water there maybe for a few minutes and get out, or they're, swimming around, or they're swimming very long distances. Everybody's there and understands at the core of it, whether you're long distance or you're a cold plunger or whatever you're doing, like you're there enjoying our home and the water, and we kind of all have that in common. So the sauna is another wonderful thing about the Dolphin Club, and that's kind of where the bonding, I think, usually happens. So we do have separate saunas. There's a men's sauna, a women's sauna, and so I think that's where a lot of female bonding time happens. And I always, there are people that you kind of swim at the same time with. So even though you may not plan to be there at the same time, you'll see them in the sauna, every time you go. And then there's also, guests that come along, because we do allow guests on certain days, and maybe just somebody that is a member, but you just haven't crossed paths before, and getting to interact with folks in the sauna after you both just have separately but kind of shared this experience in the bay, I guess, is really, really wonderful. And you can always find, like, at the core of it, we have that in common. And so we might be very different people, but we love the bay and love how it makes us feel. And you can relate on that level, which is really awesome.
I love that. And then you can find maybe a mentor, if not even in swimming, just a mentor in life. There are so many wise people there, and swimming is so healthy for everyone that I feel like, people who are Dolphin Club members are probably very healthy, like-minded people as yourself.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And the average age I don't know what the average age is, but it's probably, I'll say older than me. I'm 30.
Yeah.
So yeah, you do have a lot of older people at the Dolphin Club.
Mm-hmm.
I will not say old, I'll say older than me. And I think it's really inspiring because you'll see, grandmas and they're out there doing these long swims and are really healthy and have a great mindset and are out there just living their life and are so young and vibrant. And so I think it's really inspiring to me of like changing the attitude I think that we like in our society have about age and aging. And it's kind of like flipped it on its head for me. Like, oh, aging is actually really beautiful and wonderful.
Yeah.
Like there's so many women at the Dolphin Club that I really look up to. And yeah, they share their experiences in the sauna. So
That's
it's
where
really a
all
magical
the tea
place.
is spilled.
Yes, that's where it happens. It's where it happens. So.
I love that. Yes, these women are wise and strong. These women are badass. Oh my God.
They are.
So you're also a member of the South End Rowing Club, is that right?
I'm not a member of South End. I have considered becoming a dual member, but I'm not there yet.
So this is controversial, you guys, for people listening, because apparently there's a legendary rivalry between the South End Rowing Club and the Dolphin Club, and they're very close together. Aren't they like next door?
Yes, they are. So we basically share a beach. So they're two separate clubs and they have their own docks, and then in the middle we share the beach.
So this rivalry dates back, gosh, so many years, according to the Dolphin Club history section of their website. Apparently, there was a Farallon Islands relay race in 1968 between the Dolphin Club and South End Rowing Club. This was the first relay race they had, and the Dolphin Club won, of course. So I was curious to ask you, are there still competitive races or friendly feuds between the two clubs today?
Yes, absolutely. I think overall, we definitely look at ourselves, maybe saying as one club is a little too far, but we are all bay swimmers. So at the end of the day, we're one. But yeah, there definitely is some friendly competition. We do a triathlon every year, and it's basically a club-wide triathlon. So it's the Dolphin Club against the South End Rowing Club. So we'll have a bunch of Dolphin runners competing against all the South End runners, and then the rowers, and then the swimmers. So that is a really nice competition. And we have a little plaque that goes back and forth between the clubs, and it stays.
Got it.
In that club for a year, if you win it. I will say the South End has been dominating in the past few years with the triathlon, but a lot of it has to do with numbers and just like people coming out or choosing to participate. So there's that, but it is very friendly, fun competition.
Yeah,
even if you're like, so we call our swimming groups pods. So in my swimming pod, like I have Dolphins and South Enders. So even if we go into different clubs, in the morning we'll meet up on the beach and we still swim together. So
yeah. Oh, that's really sweet. I didn't realize that you guys were like so like friendly with each other. I really like that. It reminds me of, when you're watching an NBA game and at the end of the game, they all hug each other like they're brothers, and sometimes they are brothers.
Yes, yeah.
Like, they just seem so friendly and buddy, and I'm like, what? You guys were just, like, battling it out on the court.
Yeah, I think that's mostly the relationship. I mean, sometimes there are issues, like, for example, the Dolphin Club is doing some renovation, and so there's a little bit of back and forth about like what you can do because we don't want to block the South End and all that. Yeah. But for the most part, very, very friendly.
That's good.
And we even will host swims together as well. Mm-hmm. I didn't participate this year, but we actually just had our Pride swim, and that's usually a joint South End and Dolphin swim. We pilot it together and swim together, and it's open to everybody. Not all swims, but we do have some where we do them together. So
that's good. I love that. I love the friendly feuds. And, I guess it makes sense, 60 years after, like, the original relay race, it seems like the Dolphin Club was really taking the lead in late 1960s. Stuart Evans in 1967 was the first person to swim from the Farallon Islands to Point Bolinas, which is basically north of San Francisco. So I guess, it makes sense. 60 years ago, that's 60 years ago, right? Yeah, ish. 50, 60 years ago, Dolphin Club was kind of winning. Now it's time for South End to kind of shine, I guess. However, if you become a member of South End, I don't know, maybe they'll do even better.
We'll see. Yeah, no, I don't think I would ever give up my Dolphin membership. I think I would become a dual member. So the thing about a dual member is that, like, you know, it's kind of like, oh, like you can't walk the line, you have to choose one, which again is totally a friendly thing. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll become a dual member. I like both. They're wonderful.
So, Lauren, what is your favorite time of year to swim in the bay?
Yes, I think you already know the answer to this because I have made Lena swim in the bay during my favorite time of year. I like it when it's coldest. So typically the coldest time of year is actually like February, but like December, January, it's starting to get pretty chilly. And I really, really love cold water. I think it's where I get the most like benefit from the cold water experience.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think you like cold water too.
Oh God. No. The answer is no for me. However, I totally recognize, cold water is super healthy, like a cold plunge, you know, and that's what makes the sauna feel so good afterwards. And I'm all down for a cold plunge, like max 30 seconds. That's all as far as I can do. But yes, I remember, I think 2 birthdays ago, I'll do anything for someone's birthday. But basically, Lauren had a little scavenger hunt. Do you want to share?
Sure. I made a bunch of family and friends do this little scavenger hunt with me. It was pirate themed. And they basically, I think I had you guys report at like 7 a.m. or something stupid early.
Yeah.
To the beach.
In
there
December,
at Aquatic
by
Park.
the way.
My birthday's December 23rd, so I think it was December 23rd. And I had part of the scavenger hunt was there was like a clue or something, and then part of it was they had to get in the water. So earlier that morning I had gone out and swam around the park and I put like bags of things just like out tied to buoys and boats and stuff.
Yeah.
And then they had to figure out the clue on the beach and then send somebody out to go collect the items. I was so impressed because Lena shows up in like her 2-piece in, December on the beach, which like, why not? And it became your turn to do something. I don't know what it was. And kind of all the boys were like, oh, they're just kind of like wading into the water and going really slow and like complaining. And you were just like, nope. And you ran into the water, like sprinted out to the buoy, which was like kind of far out. It was not like a few strokes.
Yeah.
And we're all on the beach like, where did Lena go? And you're like out there. So I was very, very impressed. And also like, because I know you like have done a bit of swimming, but I was also impressed with like your swimming skill as well. Because I know wasn't your main sport. So just like how fast you were, I was like, dang, like we got to get Lena a marathon.
Those gymnastics arms,
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that was I just knew I had to full send or else I was never going to do it. And also, what amazing opportunity to, one up all the boys.
Exactly.
Just do it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you guys are marinating yourselves like chickens. And like figuratively and literally, I guess. But I was like, if I touch that water and don't fully force myself in, I'm not going to go all the way in. So.
Yes. It's definitely easier if you just jump in. Yeah.
I remember I wanted to share this really quick. I just remember, like, seriously, I may be being a bit dramatic, but my fingers, my feet, I could feel them slowly freezing up. Like that scene in, like, Frozen, where she also starts becoming frozen, literally. That's how it started to feel, and like it felt numb, and I could feel myself starting to slow down, and I felt like, oh my god, is this what the people in the Titanic felt like? And then I started to get really hot, like really hot on the outside of my skin. So it's a very very weird experience.
It is. Like, cold water is a very weird experience, which is why I love it, because it makes you feel like be really in tune with your body and like what your body is doing. And it's kind of some of those feelings and like the kind of like high that you get afterwards.
Yeah.
is something that, like, I don't know where you can get it elsewhere.
Yeah.
It's really crazy. So,
Yeah. So, what has been your favorite swim that you've done in the bay? And is it true that there are sharks? Because I've seen whales, so I would not be surprised about sharks.
yes. Okay, so the shark question. Yes, there are sharks. We do have great whites that are in the bay. But the thing is like you never see them. There's one, and remember, San Francisco Bay is very populated. Like, there are boats out there every day. There are people swimming out there every day. Like, nobody ever sees sharks. There is one video that went viral, probably, I don't know, 10 or so years ago, where I think it was like an Alcatraz ferry. I'm not sure if it was a fishing boat or an Alcatraz ferry that was going out to Alcatraz, and there is this video of a shark just coming up and like biting a seal, I think, like right on, like, outside of Alcatraz. But that is like the one video that's out there. So that's how you know, like, yes, they are there, but they really don't bother people. And again, like, there are people swimming out there every day, and there's never been like any interaction. So
Okay.
yeah, it's it's not, I will, like, understand people being scared of sharks. And, like, I'm scared of sharks too, but it is not what I think about when I'm out in the bay. In terms of things that I need to worry about when I'm swimming, like, that is very low on the list. So if anybody is like, I want to swim in the bay, but I'm scared of sharks, like, oh my gosh, do not be scared of sharks. That's the least of your concerns.
Okay, good to know.
Yes, but as far as like my favorite swim in the bay, that is such a hard question because I love swimming in the bay. Like, I have so many wonderful swims.
Aren't there only like 3? Like,
yeah, so there's some like particular routes. So I've done bridge to bridge, which is where you swim from the Golden Gate to the Bay Bridge. So that's really fun because it's a tide assisted swim, so it's very fast. So you swim with the flood, which is the incoming tide. So it flows from the Golden Gate to the Bay Bridge.
Nice.
And so you're moving really, really fast in the water. And so that's a blast. And you swim kind of along the coastline. So you get to see all of San Francisco pass by. So that is a blast. I've also done round trip Angel Island, which is definitely a beast of a swim. So I started from Aquatic Park and then out and around Angel Island and back. And that was really a very fun swim because I did it with one of my best buddies, Luca Pozzi, and with Pacific Swim Co., who are also like my friends, and they piloted the swim. So that was really fun. It was very challenging, but a total blast. But I think maybe one of my favorite moments in the bay was just on a like random training swim. And I think we were kind of between, I think we were maybe like right off of Alcatraz. And again, it was just a regular training swim with some of my buddies in our pilot boat. And our pilots kind of stopped us and they were like, hey, like look. And we kind of all popped our heads up and stopped, like, what's going on? And this whale, I'm not sure if it was a humpback or if it was a gray whale, but it just kind of like breached right there in front of us. Like, it had to have been maybe like 200 feet away, 300 feet away. So it was like pretty close. And we all just like kind of stopped and we're just like, what?
Yeah.
So that's probably one of my favorites because I got to swim with a whale.
That's so cool. I got the chills.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, totally amazing. And, it didn't bother us. And I thought I might have been before that experience. I was like, I don't know how I feel about swimming with a whale. That's like kind of scary. But it was so magical. And I didn't feel scared at all. So, yeah.
Oh, amazing. It's like that movie Free Willy.
Yes. Although orcas, I don't want to mess with them.
Wait, yeah, those are a different kind of whale. So you mentioned Alcatraz. So that brings me to my last question in this section here.
Yes.
Alcatraz escapees. We have Frank Morris and then brothers John and Clarence Anglin. Mm-hmm. What do you think? Do you think that they made it? You've swam those waters. In fact, you've seen a whale. And you said that there are great white sharks in the bay, and there's only one video of it. But keep in mind, back then, they didn't have phones to take videos. So,
true.
What do you think? Do you think that these specific Alcatraz escapees made it?
Yeah, so I think it's totally possible with the amount of planning that they did. And I mean, I don't know if you've ever been to Alcatraz Island and done the tour. I think you have, yeah.
Yeah.
They have a really good explanation of kind of what they did and all the planning that went into it. So I think that they totally could have done it. Okay, they made a little lifeboat basically out of, I think it was rain jackets. Yeah, so they had something to rest on. So they weren't necessarily fully immersed in the water.
True.
They also, with the bay, the tides are so strong. So if they were able to time it with the tide that was favorable for them, they didn't have to do a lot of swimming. They probably could have just been in that little craft. And I think they had oars too. So, you know, make sure they're kind of moving along in the right direction. I think it's totally possible. And the other thing I'll say, like, and we could go into the nitty gritty of like, what were the tides like on the night? And I don't know what the time of year was. I forget. So like, I don't know what the temperature of the water was.
Remember.
But fastest swimmers are probably doing an Alcatraz swim in about maybe 25 minutes. That would be like pretty fast. I think the average swimmer is doing it about like 45. Slower swimmers might be doing it in an hour. So that's obviously with, you know, a pilot who has read the tides and had you jump at, you know, an appropriate time. But if they had any swimming experience at all, and they had a craft, and they were jumping at a favorable tide, like, I think it's possible. I think it's possible.
Okay. You heard it here first, people. The Alcatraz escapees probably made it out.
There was also one guy who actually did escape and actually did swim across and made it. And then he got found on the beach because he was like hypothermic and exhausted. And then they caught him and brought him back.
Oh my God. That would be me. I'd be hypothermic.
I know, right? I mean, just like shivering there, like, yeah, just bring me back. Just like get me warm.
It's not worth it.
So there you go. It can be done.
Trivia question 2. According to longswims.com, who holds the longest unassisted open water swim? A. Vicky Keith, B. Lori King, or C. Sarah Thomas?
The longest unassisted swim.
Yes.
My brain says Sarah Thomas, but the assisted thing maybe messes me up a little. I'm going to say Sarah.
You're correct.
Oh,
Good
yes.
job.
Okay.
For some reason, I was like, oh, Lauren's totally going to get this one because you're on this website.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so the longest unassisted, so so the word assisted is, like I said, that's kind of where it gets me, is because basically assisted swim means like that could be with like heavy tides, or it could be with maybe you stopped at some point and or like somebody touched you. With like unassisted, you're not allowed to, you have to go from like shore to shore. You're not allowed to have anybody touch you at all. Like you can't rest at all. You can't get on a boat, that sort of thing. So sometimes there are really long swims where there are maybe small assists along the way, and so you just have to mark your swim as unassisted. So that can change things. But
yes,
I'm glad I got it right.
Yeah, good job. That's why I chose unassisted, because I was like, okay, that's definitely more impressive than assisted. And also that's the swim that they put on their website, first thing. Basically, in August 2022, Sarah Thomas completed the loop in Lake Champlain, which touches Vermont and also New York, the state. And this was a total of staggering 168.3 kilometers, which is 104.6 miles. And Lauren was also mentioning unassisted versus assist. There's very clear definitions here, and under the Marathon Swimmers Federation rules, unassisted means without artificial assistance to performance other than the standard equipment of the sport. And standard equipment of the sport is exactly what you think it is: swimsuit, cap, and goggles. No wetsuit. No wetsuit.
Yes, no wetsuit.
Yeah. And also, like Lauren said, no touching the boat or another person. So to wrap up Sarah's swim here, Sarah Thomas swam for 67 hours and 16 minutes. So that's nearly 3 days nonstop. It was in freshwater, but apparently she did have some, choppy weather, some hallucinations, of course, body fatigue, and of course, cold. So that's the longest swim according to longswims.com. So, Lauren, I'm sure you have some, top favorite swimmers, famous swimmers. Can you share a little bit more about them?
Yes, I can. I have to say, I get so inspired by people that I meet at the Dolphin Club in the South End and like all my friends, when I see them do crazy swims. So I have so many favorite swimmers. But I'll talk about Lynne Cox because I think she was one of the first famous swimmers that I learned about really when I was just getting into the sport. And she's so cool. She has lots of books, or she has a few books. Swimming to Antarctica was the one that I read at the very beginning when I was getting excited about open water swimming. Mm-hmm. But Lynne is so amazing for so many reasons. But she started swimming when she was really young. I want to say she was like 14 years old when she started doing like the English Channel and Catalina Channel. And she was kind of part of a swimming club where there were a few other younger swimmers that were kind of starting to do that.
Yeah.
And she was, obviously very talented from the start. And in her book, she has just so many wonderful little stories. But she also, swam in Antarctica and also swam to Russia from Alaska to Russia to the Bering Strait during like height of Cold War tension. So that was also a huge thing. And she kind of meant it as this bringing together of, the people, let's ignore what our governments are doing, but let's bring people together. And so she has a wonderful story about that. So I really admire her and not just all the things that she had to overcome and being a young swimmer and being a female swimmer at that time, but also just the way that she's used her swimming. And she also has another wonderful book called Grayson, which I remember actually reading as a kid before I knew anything about open water swimming, where she just tells this very short story about how she was swimming one day, I think it was in Santa Barbara, and this baby whale just started following her.
Oh.
And she had to swim with this baby whale because it became attached to her. And she meant to swim for like a few hours, and she ended up swimming for a far longer time because she didn't want to leave this baby whale. And she actually stayed with that baby until it reunited with its mother. And it's just this magical, true story.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so Grayson by Lynne Cox, I highly recommend it. It'll take you like an hour or two to read. It's a short little
that's
book,
amazing. That's so sweet.
Yeah,
have you ever met her, or have you ever had the chance to meet someone like her?
So I have not. She does come out to San Francisco. I don't know where she lives, but she does come out to San Francisco. I know she's talked at the Dolphin Club. I think I missed it, or maybe it was before I was a member. Yeah, but she's just so cool.
That's so
and I don't
awesome.
know if she is doing like a lot of swims nowadays, but yeah, she's really cool. So
That's
very
so
much
cool.
am a fan.
Antarctica. That is an epic swim. Wow.
Yeah. Cold. Very cold.
Yes. And Lauren, you are no stranger to epic swims. Can you share more about what was your most difficult swim and what made it tough? Like conditions, distance, wildlife, I'm sure many other things.
The question of like my favorite swim is really hard to answer because I love so many of my swims. I love parts of so many of my swims.
Yeah.
But yeah, so probably one of the ones I'm most proud of is my Molokai to Oahu Kaiwi Strait swim. Just because I was so scared of that swim leading up to it. It is the longest one that I've ever done and had attempted. So it's about 30 miles, like 28 probably. So it's going to be long, and also it's really out in the middle of the ocean. Like all of these are kind of in the middle of the ocean, but it's different in terms of like the English Channel and the North Channel. Those are all in between two really large land masses. Whereas the Kaiwi Strait, it's between two little islands out in the middle of the ocean, like the middle of nowhere. So that kind of got to me a little bit, and that like I really am alone out here in, the most isolated archipelago in the world.
Yeah.
And then the sharks, like there are tiger sharks and also cookie cutter sharks, crazy jellyfish.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was just a lot that I was concerned about. But as soon as I got in the water, kind of all that fear just really melted away. And what was so cool is that you start swimming at night because of the wind. I just started swimming and I got to experience the bioluminescence. So every time I took a stroke, this magical green kind of just like appears, and it's really bright and glowy.
So cool.
And it makes you feel like a wizard or something.
I mean,
It's kind of what it looks like. Like, you know, if you ever watch a movie that has like magic, you know, there's like sparks coming out of people's fingers. So it's like literally what it feels like and looks like. And the other awesome thing was all the sounds.
Mm-hmm.
So you have like the clicking and creaking that might sound a little bit creepy, but to me it was really like, oh my gosh, I'm like really in this ecosystem. I'm a part of this ecosystem, and I have so many, I thought of them as friends. It's like there's so many friends around me right now giving me company. I don't know what they are. I can't see them because it's pitch black, but like they're here, and like this is such a beautiful ecosystem that I get to share for the night.
Yeah.
And so that was, again, like, it's to some people that might sound creepy, but it really was actually very comforting in the moment.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Like, I feel like, especially in Hawaii, the sounds, the bioluminescence, the warm water, like, I don't even know if we're supposed to say this, like, term, but, like, it makes me think of, like, Amakua, which is, like, this, like, spiritual, like, past ancestors, or, like, the spirits, like, you see them in your everyday life, like through the sounds or the bioluminescence or the feeling, the air, like they were helping to like guide you through your swim. That's beautiful. Yeah,
that's really what it felt like.
Yeah.
So that's probably one of my favorite overall swims or experiences that I've had, even though it was arguably the most difficult swim as well. So.
Yeah. So you mentioned cookie cutter sharks, and then you just quickly moved on from that. Can you please explain to people what the hell are cookie cutter sharks?
Yeah. They're menaces. Okay, so a cookie cutter shark is not very large. They almost just look like fish. They're probably about a foot, maybe 2 feet long. They are normally deep sea sharks, but they have been, and I think, you know, it's a climate change thing, they have been coming up to the surface more. And their mouths, and this is why they get the name cookie cutter, their mouths are like in the shape of a perfect circle, basically, and it's totally serrated. So think of like a perfect circle mouth completely surrounded by teeth. When they bite, they take like this melon baller chunk out of whatever they're biting.
The flesh.
So it looks like a perfect circle that's just been like cut out of you. So yeah, like you'll find, if you type in cookie cutter shark, probably the first image that comes up is like a dolphin or something that has like this circular shape.
Yeah.
Flesh wound.
Whales too.
Yeah, whales. And so they're real menaces. They have bitten swimmers. So a few years ago, I think there were like 4 bites over one summer. And then actually this summer, there have been quite a few bites.
In Hawaii?
Yeah, of channel swimmers. So yeah, it is definitely a concern. Luckily, it seems like they kind of come in bursts. So it's like a season at a time. Hopefully they're not becoming more common. Hopefully this is kind of another freak season. But I was definitely very grateful that I came away unscathed. But yeah, there are a growing number of swimmers who have had these bites. And it's basically, they come up out of nowhere, they bite a chunk out of you, and as a swimmer, you're aware, you know what it was. There's a story of a swimmer who actually like grabbed it and just like chucked it because they're so tiny. And she was so mad because, you know, like they're serious enough bites that you need to get out. Like your swim is done.
Yeah.
Yeah, and luckily nobody has died, but, you know, it's the sort of type of thing where, okay, if they bite you in the leg or if they bite you in many areas of your body, it's really bad. You might need surgery, but you're going to be okay. Right? Yeah. But, you know, if they bite you in the wrong place, it could be a really serious event. So totally. It's definitely a concern, and it's scary.
Yeah.
But, I'm very lucky to have not had to deal with that.
Yeah, honestly, that would be on the back of my mind, too. Like...
Yeah.
That's so scary. And also, I did look up cookie cutter sharks before this episode, and what also comes up are little cookie cutter shapes in the shape of a shark for when you make cookies. But
oh my gosh.
These are real people, I promise. Lauren promises. They are. But yeah, that would totally be on the back of my mind. That would scare me so much. And I've seen from your swims, you have a support team like they're probably very helpful, you know, keeping you going, keeping you motivated, keeping your spirits bright. And you mentioned earlier, you know, your pilot boat. So I'm pretty sure that this is what you're referring to.
Yeah.
Could you tell me, like, who's on the boat? How do they keep you going when it gets cold, dark, and lonely? And what are their responsibilities on the boat?
Yeah, totally. So open water swimming is definitely a team effort, because even though there might only be one person in the water, everybody that is there and is present like has a very specific role and is really important. So basically for any of one of these swims, you'll hire a pilot. So that will be the captain of the boat, and you'll have that boat and they'll maybe have a crew member or two with them. And so basically what their job is going to be is to, of course, drive the boat that you will be swimming next to, and they'll do all the tide calculations, so deciding when you should jump, what time you should jump, and also all the GPS. So I think a lot of people think, oh, I just like swam across the English Channel and the boat followed me, but that's not actually the case. The boat is actually right next to me, and I align my body with the boat. So the boat can't lead you because they can't pace you. That would be against the rules, but you're basically aligning your body so that they get you in the right direction.
Yeah, like parallel to the boat, right?
Yes, parallel to the boat. And so, you know, if I see the bow, you know, move right or left, I kind of adjust my body so I stay parallel. So that's the pilot boat. And they're also the bosses. So if your captain or your pilot tells you to do something, you do it without question, because they have, you know, your safety in mind. And that's always, you know, the most important thing. And then a swimmer will also bring along like their own little crew. For me, that is typically my fiance and my dad. They're kind of my two mains. I've had some other people also come on the boats. I've had my uncle, I've had my sister. Yeah, so their job is to feed me every 30 minutes. So we call them feeds. Most swimmers do like every 30 to 45 minute feeds. Basically, it's mostly liquid. Sometimes I'll have like goos. If you're a marathon runner, you might know what a goo is, or just like small snacks that are really easy to eat and you can eat quickly. And they'll basically throw it in connected to a rope, and I will grab it, I will drink it, and then I will throw it back and keep swimming. So I try and keep feeds like under 30 seconds. You know, as the swim gets a little bit longer, if I'm eating a solid, sometimes it can go up to a minute, but we try and keep them really fast. Because, you know, if you're doing a 21-mile swim, let's say I'm swimming at 2-mile-an-hour pace, like that's like maybe 10 hours of actual swimming. But then once you add in those feeds, if you're feeding twice an hour, like all of a sudden that's a lot, you know, if you're taking a minute, that's 20 extra minutes that you're in the water. So it really does add up, which is why you want to keep your feeds really, really quick. So they are not breaks. They are eat and go.
And at the same time, you are treading water. So not a break. For some people, Lauren, treading water is really hard. Okay.
I know. Okay, so my water polo background definitely helps in this. Like treading water is like walking. Any water polo player will know that. But yeah, so you're not allowed to hang on to a boat or anything. No. You're not allowed to hang on to anybody. So you're definitely treading water that whole time.
Yeah.
And also during that time, like you're getting messages. So, you know, my crew knows like it should always be positive. So like cheering, like you're doing great no matter what's going, even if it's not going great or I'm not swimming great, like it's always you're doing great, this is awesome, like keep it up, keep going. And you know, sometimes little updates about like conditions or whatever, or you know, the wind's coming in or the wind should be dying down soon, like so get excited, things like that. For the most part, I think a general rule of thumb for many swimmers is though, like they shouldn't tell you how far you are or how much you have left.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So, and some people, everybody's different, but typically they, you know, I think it's a good idea for your crew to kind of keep that to themselves because things can change. You never know. And you really don't want to make promises to a swimmer that like, hey, you only have like 2 hours left and then something happens and it's going to be longer. It's really hard mentally for a swimmer to make that adjustment. So
for sure,
just you're doing great. Keep going. Like everything's going to plan. Keep going. That is usually the best message you can get.
Yes.
When life gets you down, you know what you gotta do?
I don't want to know what you gotta do.
Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming, swimming, swimming. What do? We swim, swim.
Dorino singing.
ho, ho,
Dory.
I love to swim in.
Dory.
When you want to swim, you want
See,
to
I'm gonna
keep
get stuck now with that song. Now it's in my head.
Sorry.
Okay, Lauren, last question for this section. This kind of ties into what you just said. You know, it's mentally very taxing, obviously very physically challenging as well. So how do you mentally and physically prepare for a long distance open water swim?
Yeah, I'm sure everybody does it differently. Visualizing is really, really important to me. So, and if you've never tried visualizing before, you should do it. The idea of visualizing is you literally visualize the task in front of you before you're actually going to do it. So maybe you have like a job interview. You know, maybe a few nights before you can, before you go to sleep, kind of lay down, close your eyes, and just imagine the interview and think about all the things that are going to happen. Like, what are you going to be wearing? How are you going to walk in? What are you going to say when you like shake their hands? How is that going to go? And so you really visualize all the tiny components. And the idea is that then when you go to actually do the task, you've already done it once before in your brain. And so now you have experience actually. And so in swimming, it's just something that my water polo and swim coach actually taught me when I was in high school. And it's something that I've brought into all aspects of my life. But with open water swimming, I spend months visualizing, and it's often in the car, like on my way to work. I will, choose something that I'm going to visualize, and that's what I think about, while I'm driving. And, it could be anything. Like it could be finishing. That's the most fun to visualize.
Yeah.
But it could be starting. It could be the most helpful, I think, is being in the middle of the channel and maybe something's gone wrong, or like, the tide is pushing really hard or the swells are really large.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to be thinking to yourself? How is it going to feel? What are you going to tell yourself in that moment? And so that's really, really important for me. It's as important as the physical training. So I do spend a lot of months just really, really almost like fixating on the swim itself and thinking a lot about it.
Seems like a sort of visual manifestation, but at the same time, what I noticed from what you just said, it's like it's not only positive things that you're visualizing, you're also visualizing potential things that could go wrong, which is so important because, sometimes that's inevitable.
Things will go wrong. They always do.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And those are more important than any of the positive things. The positive things can get you motivated to go and do your workout, but visualizing the negative things and how you're going to overcome them, that is really the work.
For sure. Did you want to touch a little bit on like the preparing physically for that?
Sure. Yeah. So typically like my training regimen is because I live in San Francisco, but I do work down south, down the peninsula. So I'm not really able to do a lot of bay swimming during the week. So usually I'm in the pool during the week before or after work. I try and do that like 4 days a week. And then both weekend days, Saturday and Sunday, I'm typically doing long swims in the bay. So those long swims, depending on where I am in my training, can range from 2 hours to 5 hours. I'll do anything beyond 5 hours I typically do with like a pilot. Mm-hmm. And, we'll actually go out in the bay and do 6, 8, 10-hour swims maybe. So those are definitely like the longer end. I'll only do a few of those depending on what I'm training for. But I am probably on the lower end in terms of like swim yardage for the swims that I do. For some people, they need more, they feel more confident with more. I personally, I gotta live my life.
Yeah.
I, have a demanding job, and I also need sleep, and I also want to spend time with the people I love, and I also coach, so I technically have like 2 jobs.
Yeah.
So I really, at this point, know my body. I know what I need to be prepared for a swim. And so I'm going to follow that. And if I don't feel like my body's ready to do something on that day, even if it says it on my little spreadsheet that I should be doing that yardage for that day, I listen to my body and I make sure that I keep the training fun, and it shouldn't be a chore. And because once it becomes a chore, it's like, well, why are you doing it? Because I'm not getting paid for this. This isn't my job. I do this for fun. And it should be something that is healthy for me, for my body and my brain. And if it's becoming unhealthy, then we probably shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I do train really hard. There's a lot of hours, but I also err on the side of like, you know what? It's probably going to be okay if you don't get this, 10,000, if you're 10,000 short this week, like it's probably going to be okay. You're probably still going to finish your swim. So
Yeah.
That's kind of how I go about it.
I love it. Okay, so mentally, visualizations, physically, there's a spreadsheet involved, listen to your body, and then also a mix between mentally and physically is have fun. At the end of the day, you're doing this for fun. You're doing this for yourself. I love that.
Exactly.
Cool. Well, not sure how to segue into this next section, but basically we're going to talk about jellyfish. Okay, section 3, things that sting. Trivia question 3, myth or fact? The best remedy for a jellyfish sting is to pee on it.
Okay, that's a myth.
Yep.
Okay, so there's all those TV shows, whatever, of like, oh, get somebody else to pee on it, which is definitely bad. I have heard that like potentially your own pee could be helpful.
What?
Like, yeah, I don't even really remember. I'm a biology teacher, so I should probably know this, but I don't really remember what it had to do with that, of like it being your own pee, but I'm pretty sure in general that is a myth.
You're correct. It is a myth according to the Cleveland Clinic. So jellyfish tentacles are lined with nematocysts, which are tiny harpoon-like cells that inject venom when triggered. Even detached tentacles can sting, and rubbing or rinsing with fresh water or pee may trigger more stingers to fire. So here's what Cleveland Clinic says to do if you actually get stung. 1, get out of the water to avoid more stings or panic-related injuries. 2, rinse with vinegar, which is an acetic acid. Mm-hmm. This neutralizes most jellyfish venom, but not all species, box jellyfish, do require anti-venom. 3, use tweezers or a sharp edge like a credit card to gently remove visible tentacles. And 4, you can soak or rinse the area in hot, warmish water, like 104 to 113 degrees Fahrenheit, to reduce the pain and inactivate the toxins. But by all means, avoid peeing on it and rubbing with sand or rinsing with fresh water or even applying alcohol. That one was surprising to me because you'd think when you get hurt, injured, you want to clean it with alcohol. Don't do that with a jellyfish sting.
Oh gosh, yeah, I can imagine the burn of that.
Yeah. 2 more things about this. Fun fact, box jellyfish found in Australia and Hawaii can be deadly. I guess that's not a very fun fact. That's a scary fact. But most stings in the U.S., including from moon jellies and Portuguese manowar, are painful, but thankfully not life-threatening. And obviously, open water swimmers are frequently stung during long swims. And we have Lauren here to tell us her tales. I think there are jellyfish in English Channel and also Molokai Channel. Lauren, if it's not too traumatic, can you tell us any story that you have about being stung by a jellyfish?
Yes. Yeah, I have a few. Luckily, I've been pretty lucky with jellyfish. The other kind of factor in there is if you're an open water swimmer, you should just assume that you're going to get stung at some point, whether it's like a bad sting or, just like a small thing. Like you're swimming for long periods of time in the ocean on the surface of the water where they are. So you will get stung. That's just kind of a fact. It's also a large component is how you react. And of course that's your biology. You can't change that. I think that I react fairly well. I don't have a big allergic reaction to them. So very, very lucky. But there are other people, where they can get stung once by something and it causes a big reaction and can be dangerous. So that also kind of depends on who you are. It's also something that you probably don't know about yourself until you get stung. So probably not the best thing to figure out when you're like in the middle of the ocean that you're really allergic to something. Yeah. So some stories. My first well, actually, one of my favorite jellyfish stories. In San Francisco Bay, there are jellyfish.
Oh, no.
Yes, but there are some different types. They're not super common. Like if you're swimming in the bay year round, you probably won't run into a ton of large ones. But there are these like really, really tiny ones, and I'm forgetting what they're called. But they're clear. They're, really tiny, like maybe like 5 of them could fit in the palm of your hand.
Let me look it up.
And yeah, you should. I'm just blanking on the name. But they do get in your suit sometimes, especially if you're a woman and you have maybe a larger chest and so have a little opening in your swimsuit kind of at the top. So when you're swimming along, they do go down your swimsuit in the chest area. And then they don't really sting you unless they get like stuck up against your skin. So that's what happens to me is sometimes they'll go down my suit and then get stuck like against my stomach or my chest. And then it starts to sting me and I'm like, and I have to like go into my swimsuit and like pull them out. So one time I was swimming. I felt like I was getting stung a little bit, but I was like, whatever. They're really not that painful. It's more just kind of like a minor inconvenience. But I was in the shower after, I had like 4-hour swim and I got out, I was like, yes, I'm in the shower. And I pulled down my suit and a jellyfish just plopped out and fell onto the floor of the shower.
No.
And there were other ladies in the shower and we were all just like, what? And we just started like dying laughing. Because like, what is this world that we're living in where we just like get in the shower and we're like dropping jellyfish everywhere?
Oh my God.
So that's like probably one of my favorite little jellyfish stories. But in terms of more painful ones, the lion's mane and the North Channel, so from Ireland, Scotland, those are definitely painful. I got stung a few times there. But the lion's mane, they have these really, really long, very thin and like clear tentacles. So it's really hard to see them in the water. Yeah. You might see like kind of the bulb of the jellyfish, but it's hard to avoid getting stung if you're there. And then let's see, in the Kaiwi Strait, so Molokai, I did get stung by a Portuguese man of war, I think twice. And that is the most painful sting I've ever had. Definitely more painful than lion's mane, yeah. And it was in the middle of the night, so it was dark. I couldn't see it. I kind of ran into it with my hand. And so I could feel, the reason why I knew it was a Portuguese is because I could feel the kind of like, it almost feels like a plastic bag on the top. So if you don't know what a Portuguese looks like, it's this kind of like blue, kind of inflated, kind of little baggie that like floats on the surface of the water, and then the tentacles are below. The cool thing about Portuguese, they're actually multiple organisms.
Oh
so
my God.
When you look at a Portuguese man of war, it's not just one organ. It's actually multiple different animals that make up this jellyfish contraption. Super cool.
What the heck?
Yeah, they're very weird. But I kind of like felt that bag and was like, oh crap. And then, it like went up and around my arm and really wrapped all over my arm. And I definitely like stopped and was like, fuck. And my crew was like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, just give me a second. And I just start ripping off the tentacles. And as I'm doing that, like my fingertips are getting stung. And so I'm just like, oh my God. And it really, the way I describe like these types of like really intense jellyfish stings is like, it feels like a bear or like a cat maybe like clawed you and then just like stuck salt in it. Like that's, like it feels like it feels like you have a wound on your arm, like an actual like scratch, which is a really weird sensation because you look down and there's like, it's like some welts, but there's no wound, but it feels like there should be. But yeah, that one really stunk. I will say it just made me swim faster because I was it was like I was so, I had so much adrenaline. I was like angry at it. And, it's jellyfish, whatever. You can't be angry at a jellyfish for being a jellyfish. But I was just angry and it hurt. And so I just like started sprinting and picked up my pace. Yeah. So it's helpful in a way. But one of the more painful things I would say on the topic of like what to do when you get stung by a jellyfish though, like, obviously I kept swimming. I had hours more ahead of me. And that kind of does the trick. So just soaking in water is
I
probably
guess
one of
so.
the best things that you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I got most of like the nematocysts out when I was kind of ripping it off of me. I think there are a few left in there because I did have kind of a scar there for a while. It's mostly gone now. I can't really see it, but
My gosh.
yeah, wild.
Those are crazy stories. I was expecting at least one story. I didn't expect to get like that many,
Sorry.
and I'm traumatized for you. Like that seems horrible. I would have lost my shit. I would have given up right then and there. I wouldn't like pulling off the jellyfish with your own hands and then getting
Yeah.
stung with on your hands.
Yeah.
No, that's
Ugh.
a no-go for me.
Not a
That's-
fun time.
Oh my god. But at least it's good to know I think they're called the Velella, the clear little guys in the bay.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're called, but it's good to know that they aren't too painful.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
really aren't. And again, it's like really if you get it stuck in your suit and it's like pressed up against your like skin. But if you're
Yeah.
just swimming along, like you'll bump into them with your hands and they just kind of feel like you're like, ugh, there's like this jelly thing on your
Yeah.
hand. It doesn't hurt though. So
Oh my
that's
gosh.
good.
Yeah. So last summer I spent a lot of time with my family in Hawaii, my cousins, and I went to one of my little cousin's friends' birthday party, and there was this kid who had this crazy huge jellyfish sting scar like up his arm. And this
Wow.
kid was like kind of weird about it. Like he was like, "Look at my scar. Like I got stung by a jellyfish." And like, you know how kids are weird. So
Yeah.
that made me think. I told the kid the story, and I'll tell on the podcast now. My family there has a rule that if you get stung by a jellyfish, you get a jelly donut, which makes it worth it.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah. And I know you spent a good amount of time in Hawaii and school over there. Did you encounter any jellyfish over there, or even during the Molokai swim?
Yeah. I did not. I went to UH Manoa for a year and totally loved that year. And I don't think I really came up, definitely maybe like washed up on shore, but I definitely never
Yeah.
got stung, just like while I was swimming in the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kaiwi Strait, so Molokai to Oahu, that's where the man of war sting happened.
Yes, of course.
And then I also on that swim, this was like a few hours before the swim the sting that I just mentioned. I did get stung in like the face. So I don't know what it was. Yeah, I don't know if it was a Portuguese. It definitely hurt like a Portuguese, but I couldn't see what it was, so I don't really know. But I kind of ran into it with my face, and it got kind of like stuck on my lips a little bit, and even like in my tongue. And so I like it hurt pretty bad because like, I mean, your lips are like very sensitive,
Yeah.
like skin. So that really hurt, and I did like tear them off right away, and I kind of like was scraping my tongue with my teeth as I was swimming because I was like, I really don't like. What if I like die of an allergic reaction because my tongue swells up? So I was kind of like worried about that for a second. So it was totally fine other than just being a little bit painful. And I think whatever swelling or marks there were gone by the time, the sun rose or by the time I got out of the water. So it wasn't too bad. But yeah, I will never know what jellyfish got me there because I couldn't see it. I didn't feel it. It might have even been, because the other thing about jellyfish is like, even if they're dead or even if their tentacles are like disconnected from their body, like they can still sting you.
Ew.
So it might have been, totally gross, but it might have been that sort of thing where like maybe it was just some tentacle parts
Yeah. Who knows?
that I ran into, but
Who knows? Well, all I know is, Lauren, is that you deserve at least a dozen jelly donuts.
yeah, I'm gonna go tell everybody that, and then they can buy
maybe
me
some jelly malasadas would be good too.
Oh yes, delicious.
Obviously, jellyfish are scary, as your stories have shown. But curious to know, what other sea creatures are you worried about when you're on a long swim? Was there ever something that made you think like, yeah, I'm done. Get me out of the water.
Yes, I think this answer would surprise many, but it's actually the sea lions and the harbor seals.
Oh, they're ruthless, aren't they?
They're so adorable.
Yeah.
Especially harbor seals. Like, they're so cute and you just want to squeeze them. But in the San Francisco Bay, there have been quite a few bites by harbor seals and by more like sea lions. Those are the scary ones.
Yeah.
So, and they're all across like aquatic park. Like, you know, if you're from San Francisco, you've seen, you know, the sea lions, harbor seals out there. And so, yeah, that is the biggest wildlife concern when I'm just training. So if you see a harbor seal or a sea lion, you swim away. You don't make eye contact. You don't look at it. You don't say anything. You just swim away.
Don't say
and hope
anything.
they don't follow you. Yep, don't say anything.
Because they can understand you.
Well, mostly like there was one swimmer who, I think it was I can't remember if it was a sea lion or harbor seal. I want to say it was a sea lion though. That was like getting aggressive with him, and he started, you know, kind of went like the bear route of like get big and make noise.
Yeah.
But the sea lion is like, nah. Like they're not scared of you. So that only made the sea lion more angry. And I think he ended up biting him. So that's why I say, like, don't say anything, don't look at them, like just ignore them and swim away.
Oh my God.
So yeah, and of course, like I've had have never been bitten, thank goodness. But I've definitely been bumped by harbor seals, and for the most part, they're cute and they're friendly and they just want to play with you. But yeah, there are some, I mean, they have like kind of little sharp claws. They can accidentally scratch you. I know some people have had that. And they do bite sometimes. There's a connection to like algae blooms and them releasing like toxins into the water. And then it's called like domoic acid. And that can actually kind of make like sea lions and harbor seals go a little like cuckoo and start acting weird and biting people. So there has been this like growing connection between those things in the San Francisco Bay.
It's good to know.
Yeah, so weird answer, but yes, those are the ones I'm concerned about.
I wasn't expecting that at all. I thought you were gonna say sharks.
Yeah.
But now that you mention it, I do remember, like, in the past you've told some crazy stories about the seals and the sea lions in the bay, and they're huge. Like, they're and like aggressive creatures with each other. So I can only imagine like what they would do to a human if they were pissed off. Yeah,
definitely. And very territorial. Like if you're in an area where they're fishing, like even if you're just trying to swim through and you're like, I promise they don't want your fish, they still are. They won't believe you. Yeah, I had a swim one time with my buddy, and we were out by Fort Mason. So a common like just training swim that we'll do is from Aquatic Park and kind of along the shore out to Fort Mason and back. And so we were out at Fort Mason, right at that last pier, right before like Gashouse Cove, if you know of that. A lot of boats get moored there. We got there and we're kind of like sitting there, like just, I say sitting, we were treading water there and chatting. Yes. And then we're like, okay, like let's start swimming. And so we started swimming back towards Aquatic Park, and all of a sudden these sea lions popped up, kind of like blocking our way, and we're like, oh crap. So we're like, okay, let's wait a little bit. So we kind of swam back to the edge of Fort Mason, and then we tried again, and they popped up again, and we're like, okay, they clearly do not want us to cross. Yeah. But we got to get home. So what we ended up doing was actually swimming in towards the piers there, and there are like there are 3 like kind of Fort Mason piers, and we ended up going under the piers and swimming under those. Just to get away from the sea lions. And that worked, and we made our escape. But yeah, that's how much like you really don't want to mess with them or get in their way.
Yeah. Wow. Very good to know for the next time I swim in the bay, which will probably be never.
I don't know. Maybe my next birthday, Lena.
Oh God, please, Lauren, don't make me do it. You know I'll do anything for someone's birthday.
I'll give you a break, maybe a few years.
So do you have any advice for aspiring open water swimmers?
Yes. So I would say my best advice is find somebody that is knowledgeable or has like done some open water swimming in your area before. So, and if you don't know anybody personally, Instagram's a great resource. You can always Instagram message me. I'm happy to answer questions. I've done that for people, or, you know, honestly, anybody that you can find on Instagram. I think people are really willing to share information and tips. Yeah. Just because, you know, you want to be safe. That's the most important thing. And making sure that you know the area that you're swimming in. If you're in the ocean, like what are the tides like? Because I promise that you're not stronger than the ocean. So you really need to know what the tides are doing, so you don't accidentally get into a sticky situation. Knowing the water temperature and going really slow is also really important. And I would say start with less than you think you can do. So if you think I could probably swim for 30 minutes in this water temp, start with 15. It might seem like a very short amount of time, but if you've never done cold water swimming before, you do not know how your body's going to react. And there's this thing called after drop. So basically, once you get out of the water, you remove yourself from that environment, your body temperature is going to continue to drop. So what you don't want to do is get super cold so that you have to get out, and then your body temp continues to drop, and then you get into a more serious situation. So
Yeah.
again, like start with less than you think you can do, and then you can slowly build up from there.
Okay.
But if you can find somebody that's knowledgeable and can maybe go out with you for your first time, I think that's even better.
Yeah, totally. I love that. And was there anything that stood out to you during this conversation? You got all trivia questions right, by the way.
I'm so happy with myself.
Yes.
Yeah, well, some of those dates and like the the brothel thing at the beginning, I didn't really know a lot of that.
That was
So, like,
wild.
good to know. Yeah, so and I would say, I'll say this. I'm on a little bit of a break right now from swimming. I'm about to kind of get back into it. But I took a year off to do other things, and just talking about it has just kind of like reminded me how much I love open water swimming. And I'm like, I'm so excited to get back into training soon and
that's
to do my
great.
next swim. So
Yeah.
that's probably the best thing that I got out of this is like just having an audience like you to like ask questions and do research is so nice, and gets me all excited about it again. So
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Well, I know when this comes out, people are going to be so impressed and so interested, and you're definitely going to inspire some aspiring open water swimmers out there. And I know you have a lot of interests and a lot of talents. So if you were to guest again, what do you think you would want to be quizzed on?
this is such a good question. I think it's got to be Beyonce.
Ooh!
Beyonce is on the mind because I'm going to Houston this weekend to see Cowboy Carter. So I am very, very excited.
That's so exciting.
And yeah, I'm a huge Beyonce fan. So if you want to do a Beyonce episode, I don't know if I get the trivia right, but I'll be down.
Hey, I'm always down. I love music, and her and Taylor Swift are friends, so of course.
Yes, they are.
I'll
Yes, they
slip
are.
a little Taylor Swift in there.
Of course,
yes.
of course.
Yes, I'm so down. And that's all I have for you. Do you have any final words for the listeners?
I don't know. Thank you so much for having me again. It's such an honor to be able to talk about something that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
So thank you for giving me that opportunity. I would say like water is so healing. So even if you're not a big swimmer, finding some sort of water, even if it's your bathtub or it's, going for a dip in the pool or going in the lake or going in the ocean, I really encourage people, if you're able, to do that, because I think it really is a healing environment.
Thank you for listening to the show. This is Trivia Tangents, where we cover various trivia topics. We have new episodes released every Thursday, which I like to call Trivia Thursday. I'm Lena, and special thanks to our guest, Lauren, for sharing her awesome insights and trivia tangents about long-distance open water swimming with us. Make sure to keep an eye out for next week's episode all about Legree Pilates. Thanks for listening.
And learning.
If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a 5-star rating or thumbs up, follow or subscribe, and share with a friend. For bonus content, you can find Trivia Tangents on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and of course, all podcast platforms under Trivia Tangents Podcast. Check out our website at triviatangentspodcast.com to purchase trivia starter packs based on these episodes. Perfect for hosting your very own trivia night.